the lady at the pawn store. I like the sense of personal value, reasoning skills, distinctions, boundaries. Everything just seemed really well done. She was volunteering to explain what was unique about her store. Kinds of things. It was neat. Yeah. It was in no short order stimulating. I've asked for a long time, I want to be stimulated by women intellectually, something, anything. So I'm gonna go watch a movie she recommended to me, and it's we've shared something. I actually shared something intellectually with a female. I'm attracted to female, as it happens. And I'm gonna go home today and masturbate to the movie she recommended on Netflix, called Rotten. It's like there's nothing rotten about this, baby. No, yeah, it's neat to think that, she shared something with me, I shared something with her. Ooh. I don't know what to do anymore. Can you tell me what I should do? What I should say, and how I should stroke myself to find a happy place. I need to row the oars, Hagworth. I need to row the oars. There's no place on this damned boat. Not at the prow, not at the stern, not to the port, or the starport. Starboard, you mean. Starport. I want to go to a starport, because maybe there I could bang off with myself. But not around 30 grunting, ugly men, no offense. I mean, some of your wives and daughters might be doable, but none of you have any fucking pictures of them, because it's the 13th fucking century. Draw me a picture, motherfuckers. My kingdom for a picture of one of your fair busted daughters, so I can whack off properly. I'm trying to see your beards like pubic hair, and your mouths like vaginas. Hey, Hagwort, say onomatopoeia. I'm sorry. I just thought that was the funniest word at that moment. I bet you onomatopoeia, and even onomatopoeia, the word feels a little soiled right now. Onomatopoeia. Oh my goodness. Hey, oh, what do you say? I never thought that I could ever find the other way that I came yesterday. The other way that I came from yesterday. Was it Lyle and Harley? Okay. Their names Kim, Lyle, Harley. Espa, I think was the name of the program. Was it? Espy? Strange name. Oh, not very recollectable, if you ask me. Oh, I'm still hungry. Ooh. I could have asked my mom for a ride home. I didn't dare. I'm trying to enjoy. She's really enjoying the book she's reading, so that's good. She's happy. Happiness is abounding. Keep moving your body in a good direction. Hey nah, your balls are blue. Keep moving your body in a good direction. Hey nah, your balls are blue. Dude, I know you think you're a really healthy dude, but your balls are always blue, man. I'm following you on Bluetooth. The working man's choice to follow the color of other men's balls. balls have been blue your entire life, motherfucker. I got my money on you, though. I bet your balls are going to unblue one day soon. Thank you. Thank you. I accept this award for the most blue balls ever on behalf of all the women that I've ever masturbated to while they were present. While I was laying on a cushion watching Gilligan's Island and picturing you and Ginger doing abominable things. And sometimes Marianne would look in and just smile and then touch herself. And the professor would look through the window. And the captain, the skipper, didn't care because he just wanted to hump Gilligan. And boy, when they had that big storm, they had a little extra time together. It was time to work out a few frustrations. It was like Brokeback Island at that point. He wasn't just hitting him with his hat. He was whacking him in the face with his little skippy dicky. Last thing Gilligan saw was the anchor on his chest before he started roaming among the low hills that no straight man would ever go. Oh, Gilligan's Island. And when they made the Making of Gilligan's Island documentary and so forth, it was full of homosexual references, especially to do with Gilligan. The entire cast thought of him as an eminently doable homosexual. He was like a dummy for the entire cast. And he would smile about it. He was in his place, like some sort of Zeta faggot or something. It was like, holy cow, it's really something quite eye-opening what they'll put on television. And, Ginger was really a superstar and all this shit. I mean, it was made up then as it is now, but, Marianne is probably Janet on Three's Company. I mean, they play it pretty loose and fast with their aliases. It's really neat. Probably have a very deep subliminal effect. And of course, they make Janet really smart. She's kind of like the professor. In Three's Company, there's not like there's a lot of intelligence among the three of them. Their lives seem to be divided between flower shops and really big misunderstandings in their two-bedroom apartment above some eccentric landlords and with some sort of guy that has a different woman every night but is probably just a very hairy homosexual man who can't admit that the Rat Pack sometimes like to stick it in the back. They should have been called the Backpack. Wait, what are you talking about? I'm talking about Larry. At one point, he sings a kind of a Frank Sinatra song. And even in that movie, What Women Want, well, Mel Gibson, a very sort of male icon, also sings and does Frank Sinatra. And has trouble getting an erection with the first woman he's with in the entire movie, who's a barista he's been flirting with for a long time. So, it's interesting, eh? And the woman he's supposed to get an erection for looks like a man. I mean, Helen Hunt? Who gets a boner to Helen Hunt? I mean, except maybe gay men. It's just or Janet, for that matter. If Marianne had ever bent over the right way, they'd pick up some coconuts out of her fake oven made by the professor, who's probably just handing out peyote. I might have jacked off to her, but I don't think I jacked off to anyone on that show. I think I like the genie on I Dream of Jeannie. When she got back in the bottle, man, she had some free time on her hands. And sure enough, so did I. I'd like you to melt in my mouth, not in my hands. When the time has come, when all the men are done, and the women are waiting for them at home. When the time is come, and our labors now are done, and the ladies wait for us to come home, come home. We think of songs that prove we're not gay, no, it's not true. We just like to sing our way to heaven. Boop, boop, boop. Where we play among the stones and sing so many tomes that nothing bad that happens comes our way. Can you hear me now? I wish my mother strong and happiness long, and father true, I only wanted you to be at rest as one who lives with honesty. And something in my hair, though pubic, it's so fair. I'd show it to you, but I'm waiting for my microscope in the mail. That's a bit funny. Now I look at the stumps of trees that stood here many years gone by. The water laps upon the feet, the ground I'm on, and every sound that we should need. Oh, my voice is breaking. I think my left testicle is about to drop. This is the last I'll ever be able to sing this way before my left testicle, well, could be my last. My last testicle. A poem from grade 6. Hello, Miss Eaton, fellow classmates. This poem is called My Last Testicle. These 6 years have been very trying for, well, my other little friend. And now I just hope you'll take mercy on me, shy and willing as I am, that I should be relieved of all further responsibilities to the educational industrial system and will be sent home to a resounding succession of years, mastering the ability to whack off to various members of the opposite sex sitting in this classroom, whom I'm sure, with anatomical clarity, I will never forget. sacred to you, if it is sacred to you, it is sacred to your family. And so it is good for your family and brings strength from the great lands around you to your family. And it is wise to say to these places, I offer this smoke, I offer these thoughts, I offer my thanks, I offer my well wishes to all the creation around here. As much as I would want my own life to go well and be happy, and then to take a little back home to my family. That we should be happy and I should be happy, and whatever kind of circle that is for me. And maybe only for me. But I could come out here and lay on these stones and say, this is the earth that my mother and father lay upon, and I am their son. And I will be safe, and there's no reason for anyone or anything to harm me. Whether this is a passing amusement among the dryad branches and the little flying and the wonderful swimming creatures around here. There's something that yet seems to come to me as I appeal to the mercy and offer my awesome, heartful appreciation of the beauty of all of these boughs and these trees and these bridges and these waters and these stones that frame such a complete West Coast picture, and yet all and every one of them seem to want to cheer me up, and be a lot of the things that it's good to feel safe enough to imagine nature wants to be good to you about and send you good tidings, and that you may offer a little thanks to the wonders of nature in any beautiful or aesthetic sense, and be able to wish to bring a little home to your family and to be happy and strong all of your days. It seems like a natural religion to me. I'm going to start moving. We've got everything we need. Trail, and that may just be the dimension that I was in or the state of mind I was in there. Seems to have a nice resonance, like thinking about important or powerful things to say, and continue to encourage with my childlike heart, with a sense of maybe religious permissiveness in what I might like to grasp in what I call a ceremonial way of living, because it lets me, if it just permits me by those words in my own mind, to exercise a kind of craft to what I say and what I honestly feel I want to say to the nature, without waiting for someone to do it for me. And it feels right. My job is to learn the language, a little bit at a time. Take that home and take that seriously. Try to take it home in my heart. Just take that. Don't strain too much. Just try to take it home in my heart. And try to find the path while I'm at it. Thank you, nature. Chakabunga. Okay, we got it. Take that home in your heart, Landon. Take that home in your heart. Take that home in your heart. Where you lay down like your own ma and daddy, laying down on these sacred stones. Breathe like those who came before you now, that grow green and strong, and their boughs are long, a throng of love for thee, and all that labor lifted to be free. And all that crawls and flies about you, see, the branches move, and when the wind blows long and hard, the trees themselves can speak. In every storm, a voice that we should need. Of all our labors, yet this voice to breathe. I say I'm wild and that I'm strong. I do great things for my own flesh and blood in song. And I've wandered long, trying to stroke the oars out of my heart. It seems so hard to make the ark I would out of my heart and covet all the secrets of my days and gather up all the passing affections that a man or boy may have in the very normal reaches. That no myth could touch, because I became the master of what myths or not could touch my heart, and found them all failing to make the sounds that I would make with my own voice. If I should ever be honored, if I should ever be so honored, because I was safe, and this power was safe. If all one's labors tended to that thing, if all one's labors tended to that sound, would it not be that much more sound and easy, and not so easily spent, that the heart did not trouble itself to run like a river, or the eyes like the rain that falleth upon the place beneath, and all the mercies that one should have need, and would never deprive another living man of those mercies? Not as long as you were a child of a mother. And you should be granted that freedom also, or none should ever avail you. That's the law of the crow. And there is the fullness of that. And whatever you know, whatever you round up with your mind, just make yourself enough for. And breathe strong, as you would your own family to be long upon this earth. Is that not also a kind of freedom? Personal as it would most understandably be. Never to rival with another way of being free. Unless you enjoyed, conflict for sport with your neighbors. For me, conflict is not sport. It's something that life resulted in when a lot of fucking shit went wrong. And I am not the master of those things, right? I'm the passenger. So, I've always had a critical sense of proportion, almost too much of it. It's the biggest bank account that I have of utter self-doubt. It practically cracks my spine every step I take. No man or child was ever more afraid than I. My life quivers like a dry twig on an ancient tree. Like, who would miss me when it finally goes crack? It blows hard enough. And some poet writes about the passing of branches, when nature itself cannot endure nature, and all must pass away. I'll call that poem The Final Snap. I think it'll be a prelude to a book on the joy of poetry. It comes with antidepressants. Oh. Okay. Oh, that's the crow. The crow we know. You know, I have made good fucking progress while jabbering like an idiot. Holy shit. I mean, if anyone can walk and talk, it's me. I don't even need headphones. I just talk to myself. That's what I love about walking over jogging. It's like, you just fucking yammer on. You know, I'm like a girl that way. I just want to talk and talk and talk. And the hardest part of finding a walking partner is someone who will let me fucking talk. Because like my mom says, like, we're just too good a listener. People just fucking rape us. Our ears become like vaginal canals. It's like, I really like talking to you. It's like, yeah. Their words are like pumping of some man's hip with his dick into our neocortex. It's like, stop. But our lips won't move. It's like we're in a coma. It's like, shut up, you fucking moron. Let me talk. The words never come out. We just smile and nod our heads. It's awful. It's a kind of torture. You know, nobody wants to think about, everyone wants to think about their flavor of politics, their sexual orientation du jour. No one wants to think about the kind of, de rigueur torture that you suffer from some strange neurosis, which actually has its roots in some fairly substantial fear. Because you will never ever convince me that an anxious person does not have a reason to be anxious. It is just really how you start looking at the proportions of its resonance with the past, its resonance with current potential, and then having acquitted yourself of those two things, that the imminent sense of threat can be reduced. Okay? And laid to rest for now. Let the alarm system go off. Let it rest. Like alarms go off in buildings. People check things out. There's been a history of fires in the building, maybe. Crazy people, burning people, awful things happening, let's say. And there's certainly a lingering potential for fire in issues that are being taken care of. But imminent fire can be ruled out. And you can go back into the building and sleep tight. So there's cigarettes burning out there shouldn't be, but it'll probably put itself out. I think this lay within the vocabulary of the human emotional body. It could be like a spa treatment for people, Come away to Landon's camp and become extremely anxious and neurotic about everything, We'll put away the knives and the guns. Because just imagine how you are when someone gets on your last nerve. And the one thing I've always hated the most about retreats is how they always claim that they kind of get to this level. You get this, there's a level, maybe not from a lot of people, but there's a level in some of the more exotic areas of the world of, exotic psychological retreats. Get naked and get into a drum circle and talk about your problems. Go off and have sex with strangers. It's like, people pay for this. So I've learned that there's quite a wide range of what people call therapeutic ceremonial activity. And I've gotten to spend time with the results. Sorry, I have to laugh. And not to disrespect the people, just... I know a lot of people who have pretty great minds who just become convinced they found the secret to happiness. But they have to somehow yell it in your face to make it work properly. My heart just... I'm sorry, everyone. I'm sorry, non-existent listeners. I just gotta let my heart speak for a second. I just breathe like the forest. It's good. I said to my mom, the greater part of healing is just the power of acknowledging things. So use that judgment, but just acknowledge the results. Sometimes people don't want to use their mind because it hurts the heart, probably. It's a reasonable reason not to. And you can't force people to think about things. I've never needed to go on trips to hear the human heart talking. It comes to me, and There's no special magic. I'm not anything. I'm like in great danger of being about as little of a man as anyone should be. And it's a pressing concern in my daily life. Not because we're not all little in our way. I don't mean to shift the scale into some sort of paranoid frenzy of nothingness that pushes every madness to the world as it clothes itself in various forms that you should be lucky to reprove yourself from so that you can go back to your families and sleep, rest at night from the enemy, which is the unreproved masks that people wear to great magnitudes of industrial proportions. Sorry, I stopped. End quote. Things you don't need to know by envious poison. It's like a name that makes you want to open it and read. It's like, envious poison. Someone can use that for a punk group out there somewhere. And now, envious poison. And it's a girl. Sorry. I'm going to have to urinate soon. Okay, that's not the worst part of my day. I've actually done really well for someone who's really stoned. I've been really positive. Nothing bad has happened around me. I'm vulnerable, but I'm okay. I got a little vulnerable around the second woman in 1 week. What's wrong with me? Sorry. So, yeah. You are an honest man, Landon. You're a strong man. Your honesty and your vulnerability becomes you. It really does. Your honesty and your vulnerability becomes you. No one has any reason to hurt you. And never again. No one has any reason to hurt you. You are a noble person. You are a strong, vulnerable man. That's it. That's all you have to be to anybody. You have no other obligations. You can just rest. Because life's a lot of work, isn't it? Just walking around. People don't realize it. It's work being there for each other. It's work being in the vicinity of people, and not for the worst reasons, maybe for some of the best, but humans are tense. We're all tense. We all want to get away from it, but we all need to be around it. It's the primordial drug, tension. I'm in it with the rest of you. It's like one big self-help group for tension, the entire human race. Put in the best terms, because we really have to provide for other voices, which would probably say a lot worse things and be completely accurate. So we're in the snugly honest but not too overwhelming department. It's just a little tense in here, but we're working on it. We've got mechanics on the promenade deck, and we feel that the Titanic #2 is going to be swell. We're trying it again, folks. James Cameron is flying along beside us. Wave, don't worry, nothing's wrong. He just wants to be there when it happened. Sorry. It's just, don't worry. It's a mockumentary. You're like, I'm starting to feel nervous. Never smoke weed with this guy again. Personal note. I did a speech on the Titanic in grade 6 or 7. I hated speeches. Hate. When adults, when 50-year-olds say they hate, they mean they were terrified. It's something I'd rather been spared, kind of like the Titanic. So I'm kind of glad at my choice. I think the next one was the Bermuda Triangle. Maybe that was the first one. So I read a book made of so-called reports from actual passengers, various accounts. So it was very kind of academic, at least what you could get into an elementary school library or a town library. And read it through, took notes, and that was it. I basically gave a speech based on those accounts, kind of telling people it was the first time in my life I got up in public unknowingly and talked about tragedy and told people about it. Here, these are their voices. This is what they had to say, those that lived, and this and that. I believe that this thing had happened. It may or may not have. But it shows the depth of human sympathy, So if talking to someone who believes, that planes crashed in 9/11, really, when he was there that day, as far as we know from trauma psychology, like, you basically respect the fact that that's what happened. Otherwise, you're being very, very cruel to them. And likewise, if they were in your domain and you were lamenting, what you consider all the real cruelty that humans suffer from, given various elements of deception, then you would want to respect that also. These are the challenges which face the human race, if only in a hypothetical level, because, humans work this out in real time, but mostly because anyone who thinks that there were no planes just doesn't say anything. They become like a Satanist. It's like they carry the truth quietly because they know it can be really dangerous to say it out loud. Out of respect. And when you carry secrets out of respect, I don't think it's a bad thing. It's not like lying. People would rather not hear them. But if you can put enough of those secrets together, the things that cannot be said, that you think are reserved for old Polish communist tyrannies or something, and you can put enough of those things together, those secrets, well, you might have done something good with your life. You might have puffed out the chest of an ethereal balloon, a kind of like celestial airbag woven around your chest and the rest of the people who still aren't fucking insane. So you can take the cushion of the various concussions that are going to be the next 50 years of any given generation. There's always an impact level to, I think, human development that is in rough succession with usually planetary or international stress, tension, again, back to that word. So you notice that we all go through lots of epics of tension. And we behave like it, both in what we can see, what we're most honest about, which isn't always the way we're trained to listen, and what we can be seen as the most deceptive, which is also a lot of honesty. And it's just a lot of take when parts of the human race tell us things. People in our lives tell us things that just are very shocking to take it all in. And now you're alone. And maybe they're gone. And maybe they were, and maybe they weren't. And you prepare as you much. My master is like my mother. She's the last person on earth I'll ever be as devoted to as I am in the form of a person. In the full sense of how deep devotion runs for, religious people all over the world. I followed my path. I found my mother. I found someone I could spend years of my greatest level of ceremonial development sending what I considered the fruit of my labors to her, no matter what. Even if she was killing me. And my fruit is just being happy, even though no man or woman knows my labors. And some people walk up to me and presume to tell me they can help me with my problems, which I sort of appreciate and I find endearing and demoralizing and trying, but I am not better than these people, so I don't know what the problem is. I don't know why we just can't have a conversation, and they can give me the courtesy of not being better than me. Shit. At various times in my life, it's like we're living in Hogwarts, and when we're young, we have different ways of coping, and we don't compare ourselves to others that much, but there are ways that we learn to do it in a sporting way, perhaps. And, but then, people are never so different in how they cope with life as a whole. And I don't know why we can't just say that we're all, fighting the same fight every day, where there's any disagreement about that. And that should bring peace to so many millions of people. That's it, just leave it at that. We're all fighting the same fight, eh? There should be a saying in every language. We're all fighting the same fight. It's not a scary thing to say. It's like, if anything should go awry, just be like, doobity-doobity-doo. We're all fighting the same fight. Forget namaste. Forget shalom. And Azgalaban and Allahu Akbar. And Hare Krishna. Just blessed be and everything else. Just be like, We're all fighting the same fight. Maybe. Let's just probably on some level. We all want to fight off the enemy, whoever that looks like right now, even if it looks like you or me. So let's just be gone of that and turn a page. What do you say? And if only I could say so many words, and what I could imagine to be my enemy would go away. And I like this October because I'm imagining in a way that enemy never existed. And I can be okay and safe, and everyone else can be safe. And I don't have to tax the world with any undue violence, and the world doesn't have to task me with any return. And I could make some kind of ceremony, like, hey, like a cosmic peace treaty. We'll learn to be more positive, learn to move around energy so that I don't get snagged. People, they've been nice the last couple of days. I've needed that. I dare say it might be a good time to start walking somewhere else. End on a good note for a while. I've really put in my time out here, and it would be disingenuous to say that it hasn't been trying at times. And I'm not sure my relationship with these places. I've never walked somewhere so cool, so new, with so many different human experiences, covering such a wide range. It's been a really good path for many months now, heading into the winter. And I'm thinking, as I head down here, maybe it's worth trying a different path, just taking a break from this for a while, because it's like I'm having a great day, and like it's nice sometimes to sort of turn the page and go walk somewhere else, think about it, because I've gotten very attached to this place. And people seeing you so many times, they start to know your name. Live in remote areas. That's cool in one way, and I think I like that lady, and I have to work on accepting people a bit. Like, I like to think in my mind that I'm very fair to each person, so if I seldom luck any woman, like, that who seems consistently friendly, I'm like, hey, I'm good. I'm a lucky man. I've touched ground somehow. It's like, thank you. I'll touch that stone. I'll thank that person in my mind for sure. I mean, spare something for my fellow man, be they white or female, as the case may be. Recognize generosity of spirit, and I like it. I became sort of like a member of the cast of Disney World today, because she was walking all these older people and said, "Hi, Landon." I said, "Oh, hi, Kim." And she came with about 30 women walking behind her. So I just stood on this mound of earth and started basically tipping my head to them. This man in this strangely multicolored hat. And they sort of vaguely understood the sort of preposterous proportions of the scenario. But it seemed to play off nicely. It's all nice. I thought, in retrospect, that this was not something they did a lot, and seeing this hopefully nice, okay-looking tall man was not an unpleasant part of their day. Something to comment upon over the tea. Oh, like, and that man, you know him? Yes, it's Landon. He's quite a man. I know. We all wanted to hop on him like a pogo stick. Okay, maybe not. You've got to allow me to entertain myself, please. I think it's, what do they call that? Good, clean fun. Yes, I like that. When we permit ourselves a little silliness. I think in heaven there's silliness. As long as it touches the earth. If I'm in the earth part of heaven, it's going to have some little raunchiness to me. I guess I'm kind of like a Pan or a Puck. The green man, That's always been sort of my archetype. Ooh, I really do have to piss. The green man has to piss. All right. Another poem, I'm guessing. Yes. Poems and pisses go hand in hand. Don't you know it? This is my land. And things that are in my hand go piss. My pants come down, and then there's this. Relief, so sweet and green and true. Or bright and yellow, like Sprite. Or 7-Up. The Gatorade. That 7-Up one. Isn't there like a clear Gatorade? Gatorade. Ice? I don't know. What did they put vodka on these things? Imagine if they put vodka in one of the Gatorades, but you didn't know which one. What a great marketing gimmick. I'm guessing it's illegal. Every month we have 31 cans of Gatorade and we put 2 shots of vodka in one of them. People are running out. It's like Willy Wonka on that golden ticket. It's like you could rewrite that fabled classic Roald Dahl. It's like now it's like Willy Wonka and the bottles of crank selling to children in stores near you. Hey Willy Wonka, I think I got that fucking vodka in my soda today. Hey, I'm talking to you, you piece of shit. It's like the postmaster general in your town. It's like, uh-oh, here come the lawsuits. Here come the lawsuits. Here come the lawsuits. 'Cause I'm not gay. Chugga, 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 chugga. That tree looked like something I've seen before in a board game. I'm trying to put it together. I've seen a lot of things in video games growing up. Little, like interesting things. Like even the maze on Pac-Man is like, these things probably, oh, a biker. Hey-ho. Whew, good day for a ride. Good day for a ride. Yeah. Okay, we've had a good day. It's been a good day. I would say, I'm glad I didn't take out my dick before that guy came along, see? And you know what? His jacket was piss yellow. I love it. Nature is pure poetry. Heaven and earth connected. And I am piss whenever I want, because I'm free. Except, I'm still out here. I need to find somewhere to piss. Damn it. What the hell? I don't want to piss myself. I don't want to piss myself. No, I don't want to piss myself. Knock on the stone. I want to piss myself. No, I don't want to piss. I should be doing something more sacred right now. Something more ceremonial. I should take this opportunity, having gifted myself with an occupation which probably doesn't really exist, except in my own mind, and trying to enjoy it like a child who isn't on meth. That'd be a good thing to call a child who isn't on meth. What a compelling title. It's like, why does that stimulate me, almost irritate me? What's wrong with that? I don't know. It should be a good thing. I just, it kind of meddles with you. It's kind of like meth put into words. It's like, I had a friend who was on meth all the time, and but it's, for some reason, I managed to suspend disbelief because he was so good at being on meth. I never really knew he was on meth, I'm not even sure when he wasn't on meth. I would see him during a certain kind of like between 1 o'clock and 3 o'clock in his sort of chemical eco-cycle. Oh, okay. Piss. Really bad. Okay, I'm doing it over here. I don't care. I'm gonna just say piss off to the world. Let's go in here. Hope nobody's in here. Hello, everyone. Oh, this will be wonderful. Oh. Oh, it's ginger ale. Oh, little fart there. I like it when the anus gets in there. You can quote me on that. Here's another difficult statement. If I were on meth, I might imagine that I'm one of those people who have spent enough magical time in nature to put together the cosmic lottery balls of various sequences of agony and absinthe. Personal note, a play I want to write for CBS. And Agnes of Apathy, a feature film featuring Darth Vader as a Catholic nun. Okay. Oh, sorry. Someone who's spent enough time in nature that his intelligence is starting to grow to enormous proportions. But no one, get this, no one believes him. I don't know why I find that so funny. It's so ironic. Yeah. I wish it were true. And the only reason that I didn't really have security was because my mind was so incredible. Oh God, my inheritance is self-doubt. Are you kidding me? It's like one of the biggest parts of my life. Like, I think it's the thing that keeps me from becoming completely homeless and useless to the world is the incredible crushing self-doubt. Not really self-loathing, because I don't really loathe myself. That's how I've made it this far. And, I don't loathe myself to myself, but man, I can feel so bad. I just want to say to the world, my mom, my family, with all due respect, like no harm, sans anxiety or threat or any malice or poison, no matter what. With absolute infinite laundering, which is kind of what we're good at as children, I would say I seem to be able to feel very, very bad about all kinds of things, like really bad, for really long periods of time, over and over again. I could have lived without it. I would have. It's and if you just, conditions are interpreted in many different ways by many different people, which is not to trivialize the fact that to some people, other people seem unnecessarily aggressive. Fill in the blank, And because that can, you can cover a host of sins with that, but there's a kind of grammar to it, and to how we survive in some cases and suffer in others. The forests help me talk and think. I think why I always like Dickens. I wrote one of my first novels while reading Dickens. It's for those of you kind of like-minded, I guess. Dickens ministered to me, not just as a writer, but as a human being. It's not something you could pay me to say to a high school class or a college class, because it really isn't appropriate in so many ways, I guess, and could be completely delusional, I suppose. But I liked that that you could have a fable that allowed you to believe, at least, that you could deal with and acknowledge the worst parts of life as a child. So it could kind of cross two realms. I could be in nature, I could smoke marijuana, I could take some mushrooms. And no matter what age I was, whatever I was doing at the time, I would be sobbing usually, getting into depression, profound depression. Yes, some interesting kind of psychedelic type of things, which everyone likes to have a few of those types of things to rattle around in there, so you can tell someone someday, it's like, hey, I saw a UFO, or there were arteries of majestic celestial fluid passing like the Mother Mary through the antique hues of the stained glass windows of my respiratory system. And every time I moved my body, she breathed. And then, fuck, that's pretty intense. I know, I've never told anybody. You see, I have no one to talk to. I've been worshiping the goddess most of my life, so it's like, in that way that religious people usually find something that relates to the way they think. Right? So, that's how I saw it. It was beautiful, and I had other visionary dreams like that. I tried to write a screenplay based on it for this astrologer, repressed homosexual. Whoa. And, sorry, I don't mean to be rude, but it's a way that explains his anger toward me. and he hated the screenplay because it had heterosexuals in it. And he tore me a new asshole over the phone one day, and it's like, and then he did me the kindness of coming up to me and saying, "Hey man, hey dude," he would talk these things. And he's like, he's one of these people from these hippie towns, right? "Hey dude, there was this thing one time, and this guy, like, he paid this actor to come up to him and just like yell at him and just like, wow, pretend to be like ferociously angry, and he just kind of totally handles it like a boss." It's like, well, that's what I was doing to you. I was like, oh, okay, all right, man. Thanks for that. And it's pretty neat, when psychopaths do something to you and then they tell you how to see it and how to frame it. So, like, it's all pretty cool. I mean, these people should be surgeons, except for the fact that they have no medical knowledge and shouldn't be near anybody or children. But they do have a certain confidence, and it is persuasive, and really it settles the matter if you're smart and you kind of let them have their way. And, at least it lets you know, like, that's the end of it. Oh, the ennui, the specters of when first you agree to write a script for some crazy dude that comes into your friend's bookstore. It's like, this is my life, and I never thought it was interesting at the time, but now I think it could make a good story. I know what you're thinking. He's taking off his backpack. That could only mean he's under his favorite tree, about to smoke another joint from a wonderful girl named Giselle, who listened to me talk today about what was really on my mind. And I think we both in succession became emotional for different reasons. I hope excuse me. I hope my brother thinks well of me. I hope family think well of me. I think one of my greatest fears in life has been that I have any reason to be afraid of my family. I think it is something, unfortunately, really in danger of following me through life. Precisely because I feel that fear, make choices based on that fear, that my behavior to my family appears to them as much as they are resigned to one conclusion or another. For their, you could say, malevolent, selfish, delusional, or other rightful feelings, that I merely have some kind of pathology. And so this is mixed up, in a sense, with their entire relationship with me since we were children. So the medical system essentially poisoned my family
in some of the most precipitous tensions, there's that word again, that ever came through the flesh and blood of my siblings, my mother and father. And I'm just going to say the world of tensions is like the world of snakes. It's Grecian. It's tragic. It's like whenever you add alcohol or whatever, it's like, I don't care how many years or how many books or how many poems, no one will ever adequately attest to the snaky venom, the biblical sort of snake venom of stirring and mixing and disturbing the mind of human beings in their own fucking homes. And what happens? Like, what happens? To be a cautionary tale. I see a beautiful red leaf. As I said that, it's like, I hope I don't pick up. I'm terrified of putting my camera on a pile of shit. I'm just going to go take a look at this. I think I'm safe. Nature says I'm safe. I'm safe. Oh yeah, that's a lovely leaf. Wow. I did a painting once with this beautiful red leaf in the bottom right corner. I don't know why. I just felt it, And now, the way I live my life, and it's a vision that was stored in the painting. So that 10 or 15 years before I started living this way, I had done a painting about it, which kind of creates a sense of holism, you might say. It's kind of neat how that... I don't call myself an artist, but I guess that's kind of an artist kind of thing, right? I remember like Sarah McLachlan said something, I don't believe these people are who they say they are, but she said something about her lyrics and said, they just like, what did she say? Poems that she writes, or wrote, or says she wrote. I can't remember. I don't know, it kind of moved me away. Something real about us. Something that changes who we are physically, mentally. Like putting our life into words is the most alchemical thing there is. The life of the word made flesh. I mean, we breathe. You got, all of a sudden, let's just call everybody magicians. You got magicians over there that will say that you create your reality by, what you put your mind to, what you breathe your thoughts to. It's positive, negative. The world, you could say, breathes things into us, and the things we can't control. And we can be like a leaf in whom many brilliant colors have been breathed. And we can breathe with them, like I've walked with the bear today, perhaps. Or walk with my words and just, like an artist, try to draw them across time in a meaningful way. And to be alone in that, but also to be happy and to have a home to go home to. And to want to connect all of those things, like when I was a child, except now I had the magic of 50 years of experience, wanting and yearning and building your own language about connecting your happiness and your home and every powerful thing that you could walk to on 2 feet together into a mosaic, a science of protection and healthfulness from anything, and in rhythm with everything that could ever be used to me. So they certainly that I would not close doors to things because I was just a little too neurotic or misinformed about one thing or another, that we can all be misinformed about in trying to form what our fears connect to in the world so we can adequately protect ourselves. So that's like the work we do in our minds, but also it's sponsored by, primal urges that are authentic in all their manifestations in their own right, and also getting into the level of belief, in needful beliefs, suspensions of disbelief that work for us, just like certain foods work for us or medicines work for us, and then maybe needing to change that. I'm being generous when I say that because, like, in my sense of studying cults, all violence lives in a cult, and all cults involve people. I don't know. I don't have a good way to describe it anymore. I should get up. I'm tired of listening to myself. It's like maybe I should think of something more positive to talk about. I don't want to give in to it. And I try to trust my mom as much as I can. But I do have... oops.
reason to suspect that for so many years, the family that my mom, that we used to be, children with, my home family, my mom, dad, that the greater part of them probably see me as, at best, especially mentally afflicted. It has been inarguably and inutterably one of the most difficult challenges I've ever had in the realm of what people think of you. Being able to say, people say, oh, I don't care what people think of me. Try living with my injuries and saying, what people have thought of me has undeniably meant a good deal in my safety or lack thereof. If anything, I could be accused of taking people too seriously in terms of how I understand them to be treating me or speaking to me. And whether that be, in a sense, peaceful or healthy or violent or unhealthy. Right? So I figure in the course of my life, if not my father's life necessarily, I don't confess to his life or my mother's life, that on the whole, not in maybe the most absolute sense, but on the whole in terms of the fraction of people's lives I have been in contact with as far as family, and then a good dose of how it really feels to me and how much it happens to have occupied my life, whether it makes sense to anybody or not. My family has been more harmful to me than not. And I'm quite capable of appointing various different things to that as you want. So you could see it in a more positive, or and say, people, there's a good chunk of people get over things and people try to put things behind them and it's like, and then I weigh that against the scale and the nature of the injuries, and I won't begin to describe them to you, but there's something you would never want to happen to you or your son or daughter. So please, 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 no disrespect, don't tell me what I should do. Not just to protect myself, but to protect everyone, to protect all of us. Maybe, and that's what I mean by taking things so seriously. That's how I take them. That's how I take things. It's like, I'm not done with it. If that's just a demon or a figment in my mind, and it goes away one day, I say, hey, you come back here, I'm not done with you. That's just how I am. Because I won't be happy till that demon is slain. I won't be happy till they're so fucking scared that no one ever gets robbed again. Not of their childhood, not of their sex, not of their time, none of their dear, dear mommies and daddies and brothers and sisters, and not by anything at all. Anything and everything that robs people of anything or everything, ever. According to any child, in any language, if you just measure their respiration, their dilation, or looked at the consistency or not of their poops and the frequencies thereof, what do you think, as the expert child doctor of the world, that these children are telling you? That life is wonderful for them or not? Hey? And let's say that your balls were on the chopping block, and if you weren't completely honest, you would be relieved of your duties and your danglers. What would you say? Who among you is so sufficiently competent to say what the voice of our children would be? If only because such honesty would be paid with rest and reconciliation, that we could taste upon our lips like all the bitterness that we ever labored to articulate, because we weren't done with that demon yet. And I say, hey ho to that. What am I talking about? This is what happens when you talk to yourself. Shh, I thought that was quite nice though.
That was quite moving. I did think it was quite moving. The radio show for one. I like that. Sing coin doi. The radio show for one. Only one man. Only one listener. They are the same person. We have pirated the channel and now have millions of people paying $1 a minute to listen to this crazy white man. It is poetic, no? A French porn star owns the rights to my videos. I love that. How Jim Morrison. I'll be like in 120 years, it's like, Landon, more and more people are whacking off to your videos. Wow, that's disappointing. What would Ralph Waldo Emerson do in this situation? I think he would write another essay on self-reliance. The austerities of the Islamic Spring. Well, we come home. This is good. Adequately stoned, that's for sure. Yeah. Oh, I don't think I'll even stop at Subway, quite frankly, because I'm too stoned. But it's pleasant. At least my body's doing well, my mind. I honor that. I honor the marijuana for sure. And the person who sold it to me. He told me more than a fair kindness. I hope I didn't say too much when I was there today. Jesus. Didn't listen to that again. I mean, it was like I was talking about something I was really committed to. And it didn't sound like it was an altogether positive set of subjects, if you think of it that way. So it's like, probably not good for polite conversation. I don't know. She was just talking about so much and she seemed so smart. So I started rambling about cults for a minute or two. And it's like, my heart just started getting warm and her heart started getting tender. And I was just like, oh, okay. You know, she's a tender heart. So I was like, and that's a good thing. But it's like, kind of sneaks up on me too. It's just like, sometimes I talk about things that it's weird, like, you know, it's sacred, you know, it's a precious little moment for sure. I feel a little timid. I don't know why I should feel timid about my own thoughts. Worst that could happen is someone could say they hate them, or that I'm stupid. I'm really, when I think about it, then I'm really timid. I'm going to turn this off for a second.